Welcome to Lyme Time. I'm Allie from the Tick Chicks. We are all more than Lyme disease and chronic illness, and together we stand with you to overcome and rise. I'll bring you closer to the experts in cutting-edge treatments and even a few unexpected ways of healing. I'll ask the questions you want answers to regarding Lyme disease and successful ways of getting you closer to 100%. We are in this together and will not be defined by Lyme. Today, my very special guest is Dr. Shivani Gupta, and I am thrilled to be learning about her field of expertise of Ayurvedic because I do not know a lot about it, although I know that the gifts that it gives us are things that we incorporate into our Lyme disease journey every day. We just don't know that maybe it came from Ayurvedic, once upon a time ago, and how we can expand on that. She is an Ayurvedic practitioner and an expert in fusing Eastern and Western practices that help our bodies achieve equilibrium. She completed her master's in Ayurvedic sciences and her PhD on turmeric, which I never knew you could do that. I'm thrilled to be discussing turmeric and all of its benefits. Inflammation is a root cause for many health issues in our lives, and we have the power to overcome it. Her passion is teaching at-home remedies to reduce inflammation naturally and will help you enjoy more energy, less brain fog, less pain, and ultimately achieve vibrant health. Dr. Shivani Gupta has practiced Ayurvedic medicine for over 20 years, and her approach is to show you the tools in your own toolkit so you can reach for them every time you need them. She is also the founder of Fusionary Formulas, and we'll get to that in a minute, which is an Ayurvedic company that helps people with specifically inflammation and pain. Welcome, Dr. Gupta.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I think my only real interaction with Ayurvedic was a long, long time ago when it first sort of came into my consciousness, way before Lyme disease. And I still don't know much about it. So I'm going to take the approach of just a real beginner, and let's just talk about, your journey. Let's talk first about your journey and how you came to have a passion for Ayurvedic medicine.
Sure. So I grew up in Houston, Texas, and my family would visit India every year to go see my grandparents and my cousins. And so I always lived in these two worlds. And when I was in the US, I'd fall sick a lot. I was always car sick, seasick, or air sick, or any cold that walked by, I would get it. And I couldn't ever understand, like, why do I not have an immune system, but everyone else gets to have one? And so I'd constantly run to the pediatrician, and she'd hand you a script for antibiotics. I would take them and keep going. And then when I'd go to India, I'd get disastrously sick, like bedridden, can't keep anything down. We'd go to the doctor's there, same thing. And so as I grew up, I watched that, and I watched a lot of chronic disease because my whole family was diabetic. And so every time I landed in India, someone would have these issues. They needed a quadruple bypass. Their Parkinson's had gotten worse. They had a leg amputated, heart attack, stroke. And I was like, this is all bad. Not only do I have no immune system, this is my genetics. Like, how can we sign up for chronic disease and not put really big lifestyle changes or whatever it takes in place to shift this? And so by the time I got to college, I was so sick all the time, and people still remember me as like the sick kid. I looked at my parents and I said, you know what? Everything we're doing is not working. But right outside this door in India is the land of yoga and Ayurveda. So why don't we consider that there might be another way for me? And so when I went and studied Ayurveda, what I learned was my gut health was completely ruined and I had to rebuild it. Later, I realized through testing it was leaky gut. And that changed everything for me. Once I understood what the problem was, I could really take this multimodal approach towards it. And as I studied Ayurveda in India, I was like, wow, you guys teach gut health. You teach how to eat, when to eat. You teach circadian rhythm, this concept that we are one with nature. And by living with nature in rhythm and circadian rhythm, we can stay more balanced. Ayurveda teaches us about doshas, or our individual mind-body constitution, and what that means for our health. Ayurveda teaches us the sattvic diet, a very nourishing whole diet that supports us. And then it teaches us about detoxification and how detoxing the body is the way to clean and clear out the problems. Then we come back and nourish. So we can clean and clear ama or toxins out, and then we come back and rebuild the fire, rebuild ojas and vitality back. So to me, Ayurveda is an entire system of health, healing, and medicine from India that's over 5,000 years old. That's another toolkit. So Western medicine is a great toolkit. It has a lot of great tools for us. I use them. Homeopathy, naturopathic medicine. There's so many toolkits we can dig into. To me, Ayurveda has truly preventive ones that are healing. And so that's what I'm here to share.
So your basic philosophy is that inflammation can start right in the gut
Yeah.
alone.
Yeah.
And I think leaky gut is a term that we hear now regularly. And I don't think many people understand exactly what it is. Can you help explain that?
Yes. So our gut has a lining, and I forgot the word for it. There's a scientific word for it. You can call it intestinal permeability. That's an easier way of saying it rather than the actual disease name. But we have this gut lining. It's one cell thick, and our job is to support that gut lining for our whole life. And we are normally raised to eat whatever our families ate, eat for convenience, and we forget that processed foods, seed oils, foreign ingredients can damage that gut lining. And then when we are eating foods, instead of staying within the gut, they're going right through that barrier and into our bloodstream. They're wreaking havoc. They're causing inflammation because that means foreign things are running all around in systems and places where they're not meant to be. And so leaky gut is just that permeability of that gut lining being way too permeable. And our job is to rebuild it and make it whole and strong again so it can do its job. And so leaky gut is very prevalent because the number of things we do to cause it is higher than the number of things we typically do to heal it. So stress can cause leaky gut. So any of us who are stressed out all the time chronically, I'm one of those people. Poor sleep, poor diet, poor digestion, environmental toxins, toxin buildup. So a lot of the things like if you drink, I don't have a plastic bottle here, but a plastic water bottle or things like that, all of those can wreak havoc. So PFAs, BPAs, I don't mean the water bottle itself, but the plastics that we are consuming.
Okay, great. And
Microplastics, yeah.
before we get too much more into Ayurvedic and what we can do as Lyme patients to help ourselves, I want to talk for a second about turmeric. And you have your PhD in turmeric, and that's really impressive. Um, Talk to me about that. Let's talk about the healing properties of turmeric, and also how much a person would be okay consuming on a daily basis, and how it's consumed by us, and are there other ways to get it?
Sure. So turmeric is a very powerful anti-inflammatory. And I was doing my master's in Ayurvedic sciences, and in my herbology class, the teacher was talking about these are the benefits of ginger, turmeric, ashwagandha, guduchi, amla. Like there's so many herbs in Ayurveda that we have never heard of in the West. We think of like ginger as something we can use in our cooking. But all of these spices have profound healing benefits. And so I think of them as super spices. So just like we think of superfoods like salmon and spinach and blueberries as powerful superfoods, a lot of the times we're eating superfoods because they have powerful anti-inflammatory and antioxidant benefits. But if you look at turmeric, ginger, and a lot of the spices, they have those as well, and they're very well received by the body. And so what I love about turmeric is it's antiviral, antibacterial, antifungal, anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. So when we speak into Lyme disease, we know that we're dealing with bacteria. We know that the body needs immune support. And so turmeric can help with that. What's also interesting is turmeric is well received by the body, but what most people don't know is out of the entire turmeric plant, only 3% is the curcuminoids. Of those three curcuminoids, the one curcumin is the most effective at reducing inflammation. And so a lot of times people are out there and they're sprinkling a little turmeric on their chicken. They are using it however they're using it. Maybe they're having a skinny latte, but that's really not good enough if you want to drive a significant result or a therapeutic result. And so I tell everyone, look, if you're going to eat turmeric in the food form as a spice, add black pepper or a healthy fat to drive the result that you want. But if you want therapeutic benefits, it's important to take a curcumin supplement to get that full dosage. Because we know, especially in Lyme disease, we've got joint pain, we've got swelling, turmeric helps with that. Turmeric will neutralize free radicals, which reduces that oxidative stress and protects our cells from the damage that's caused by Lyme disease. We know that it gives pain relief. That's been a big focus of mine, is how turmeric, and this is what I built my whole company on, turmeric can create pain relief in the orthopedic and rheumatology setting. And so I just wanted all of Western medicine to use it as a natural tool alongside their existing tools so that people would have the choice. Because I'm one of those people, I can't take a medication just because you think it's good for me. It's not going to do the same thing in me that it will in someone else. So I created turmeric just to give myself a pain relief solution and an immune solution. And then we know that turmeric is antibacterial. It will fight against infections. We know that it can help protect and repair our nerve cells, which
Wow.
reduces neurological symptoms. It has a neuroprotective property to it. We also know that turmeric will help the body eliminate toxins more effectively because turmeric supports our liver function, which can also help in this case. And then turmeric also has an antidepressant effect. So it can improve the mood, it can reduce anxiety, which is another issue that we know we're struggling with when it comes to Lyme disease. And so I really look at turmeric in my case, because I've worked with turmeric for 10 years. I look at turmeric as, look, we all have health problems. We have big ones or we have small ones, or we're really brewing them and they're going to come along soon. If we put turmeric on board, we can reduce inflammation, reduce the oxidative stress that regular life is causing us or that any disease pathology is causing, and thus put the body into homeostasis. Just support the body getting into its own natural healing state so it can do what it needs to do. So that's how I look at turmeric. That's how I've used it. For me, it holds my whole immune system together, in my opinion. And so I use it daily, and I use it therapeutically a lot as well.
I could see how that in and of itself would help so much with the brain fog.
Yeah.
And what happens with Lyme disease, as you know, is the bacteria travels and it replicates and it turns into a corkscrew organism that goes into the muscles, nerves, and more specifically the brain tissue. And so here you are trying to help yourself heal, but you can't really remember so much. You're in this fog constantly. So I think this would be a great daily supplement to add. And I'm sure that your fusionary formulas are specifically designed to take on a daily basis. Would that be right?
Correct. It is designed that way. I had built it for doctors. So my whole goal was, if we put it in a doctor's hands and it's effective, they're going to know. And the
Mm.
minute they know, they'll continue to recommend it. And another thing is, I read a lot about Lyme disease to prepare to come on this podcast because I don't normally talk to people with Lyme disease. I work with autoimmune and different health struggles and perimenopause, menopause. When I read about Lyme, I was like, wow, this is tough. This is a lot. Chronic fatigue, chronic pain, pain that moves around, swelling and joint pain, inability to sleep. I was like, this is really bad. Like, this is something where this is a group of people who need so much love and support and tools that will help you alleviate those symptoms so you can feel better. So I appreciate you having me on the podcast because I do think that Ayurveda has a lot to offer outside of the turmeric. I think turmeric's fantastic, but lifestyle shifts from Ayurveda can help one by one support some of these different struggles.
And I'm excited to talk about Ayurvedic. And so before we get into it, can you just give us a brief definition of what Ayurvedic? It's Ayurvedic medicine, isn't it?
Yes.
And what how that can help and what it is.
Sure. So it's this entire system of medicine. It's 5,000 years old. It exists in these beautiful ancient texts that really outlined for humanity how we can live a preventive lifestyle. And it covers those different pillars that I mentioned: diet, sleep, circadian, dosha, and those different areas. So basically, it's a lifestyle you can build into your life. It's a rhythm you can build into your life. It's a series of self-care rituals you can build into your life that will support you in consistently detoxing the body and rebuilding and renourishing the body so it can stay healthier. That's the whole goal of this entire system of ancestral wisdom.
So the little things that we can do in terms of Ayurvedic medicine, and I'm talking specifically about at home tips,
Yeah.
remedies, little things. I think I learned this initially from uh, Dr. Chopra, Deepak Chopra.
Hmm.
He was the very first person that I ever heard about talking about dry brushing, and this was so long ago, and brushing upward
Yes.
to get the lymph system going, but also a very, very specific. You don't just dry brush back and forth. You're doing it for a specific purpose to get it to going towards the heart and towards this that. So that's the little bit that I know about it. But that one tip and one tool that I could do at home with a $20 brush has lasted me a lifetime. And
Sure.
I just did it this morning. I did it before bath time and then put my magnesium in my bath, and that is a lifestyle change that I have made. So
Yeah.
talk to me about some other things that come to mind with regards to inflammation.
So, the Ayurvedic self-care rituals that we can do daily are called dinacharya, the daily rituals. And those rituals are really beautiful because they're not only relaxing and bring us to be more present and do more self-love and self-care to the body, they're also detoxing. So we recommend waking up in the morning, touching the ground, touching your forehead, and just saying thank you for a new day. What is that going to do? When you bend over and crunch the stomach, all of a sudden you're going to help the body begin that idea of our first bowel movement, which is our first good thing we're doing for our health in the day. Another thing you can do is you can have water alongside your bed. Sometimes we recommend it in a copper cup because copper itself is antibacterial. And so water sitting overnight in that copper cup is going to mineralize and we can drink it in the morning. The only caveat I would say is nowadays some of us are high copper, like I'm high copper, so I don't do everything copper like Ayurveda recommends. So just
Mhm.
keep an eye on our heavy metal load nowadays in modern day times. Then we recommend going to the restroom. First bowel movement is like the priority of life. And then when you move on to that and do like your morning meditation, your morning pranayam, deep breathing, gratitude journal, these things, that's your time to collect peace for the first time in the day. And then we move on. And right after you brush your teeth, we recommend something called using a tongue scraper. So do you have a tongue scraper?
Um, no, I do not actually. I have them on my website, but I
Okay.
brush my tongue, and I don't know if
Okay.
that's the same thing.
No, so brushing the tongue is good, but in Ayurveda, we love this idea of using a copper tongue scraper.
Okay.
And that copper tongue scraper is going to, again, be antibacterial, so it's almost self-cleaning, but I would still rinse it off. And you would take that tongue scraper and you gently scrape the tongue 7 to 14 times. And so what that's going to do is on our tongue, we have a white film that forms. It's called ama. And that film represents the toxic burden across all of our organs in the body. And just like in reflexology, we have all the organs of the body reflected on the bottom of our feet. In the same way in Ayurveda, all the organs are reflected on the tongue. And so by scraping the tongue, you're actually gently massaging all the organs of the body to release the toxins that are within them so that you can excrete them and get rid of them throughout the day. And it's
Wow.
also going to clear off our taste buds a little bit so they work better because sometimes that white film inhibits it. But I love this because it's a very gentle daily way to detox. And we know we need to support detox pathways when we're struggling with Lyme disease or any autoimmune or really any health issue in life right now. So tongue scraping is important. And then another good one is oil pulling. So right after that, Ayurveda teaches us to take about 2 tablespoons of oil, put it in the mouth, and hold it for 5 to 20 minutes. This can be any food grade organic oil. In Ayurveda, we love sesame oil because sesame oil is antibacterial, it has vitamin E, it has a lot of healing properties. So untoasted organic sesame oil is very good, but you can also use olive oil, coconut oil, whatever you have around, just use it. And putting that in the mouth, you just allow it to kind of sit there. And in the last couple of minutes, swish it around, move it through the teeth, through the gums, everywhere. And what that's going to do is it's going to accumulate all the toxins, again, that have formed in the mouth. And when you spit it out, spit it in the trash, not the sink, toilet, or shower, because you'll clog your house pipes. But this is another way to detox. And because you're detoxing from the oral microbiome, we know it affects gut microbiome because oral is connected to gut. And then after that, I usually move all the rest of the self-care rituals into the evening just because I have kiddos, so I'm usually running out the door. But if you aren't going to run out the door, then doing things like dry brushing as the next one is great. I build it into my evening. But dry brushing means taking any vegetable bristle brush, try not to use plastic. And when you buy that long dry brush, you'll start at the bottom of the feet, the bottom of your body, your tops of your feet, and you'll start moving inwards. So really going from extremity inwards towards the heart. So you'll do the legs, and your lymph nodes are in different spots in the body. Lymph nodes are in the groin, lymph nodes are in the armpits, lymph nodes are here at the base of our neck, like this area, really. And so always moving towards those areas is very important. And then when you're on the stomach or any joints, go in a circular motion. And so what that's going to do is it's going to start moving the lymphatic system. It's going to support the body in cleaning and clearing out whatever it needs to. I would be very gentle to start. I wouldn't overdo it. But by doing so, you're going to help the body clean and clear and get rid of what it needs to. And usually when we sleep is when we're going to clear things out. So I like to do it before bed to support that process. And then the last self-care ritual I would recommend is one called Abhyanga massage. Abhyanga is spelled Abhyanga. And on my website, I have videos about how to do all of these. But Abhyanga massage is taking a food grade oil, again, the sesame oil is great, and you gift that oil to the body. So for those of you suffering with joint pain, lots of aches, lots of fatigue, lots of movement of that joint pain, because we look at Lyme disease as a vata dosha issue, and pitta because it's inflammation. But because of that aspect of it, to do this massage, you basically put a towel down. You can warm the oil if you want to be extra nice about it. I always forget to warm this oil. And then you take this oil and just like the dry brush, you rub it onto the body, starting at the feet, moving all the way up to the neck. And if you want thicker, healthier hair, you can also do a head oil massage with it. But when you hit your joints, really rub it in, going in a clockwise motion, and you're gifting the oil. So be generous with the oil. And you'll see this is going to settle you down. It's going to ground you. It's so nourishing to the body. It's so good for your skin health. It's great for the joint health. It'll give you more profound sleep, which is really nice. But Abhyang is just such a nourishing gift to give yourself out of the self-care rituals to wrap up the day. And if you do it in the morning, that's fine too. But it's just, you'll see it'll create a whole different mood because it'll
Uh,
really ground you down.
it sounds wonderful. I cannot
Yeah.
wait to do that. And
Yeah.
tell me again which oil that you prefer for that.
Sesame oil. So like an
Sesame.
organic sesame oil. And if you look up Ayurvedic oils, a lot of our oils actually have really powerful spices in them. They'll
Mm.
put Brahmi in if you're going to do it for the head. We'll do different oils for the body as well based on your dosha or your mind-body constitution.
Yeah, the Bromelian sesame oil would really help our Lyme patients who have hair loss associated with the nervous system being overloaded. So that's just a great overall. I love that idea,
Yeah.
and it really goes to show how a nurturing practice such as that, putting oil on your body, moving it in the right direction, massaging the joints, putting it in the hair, all of that, it feels great. It's wonderful, but it's actually serving a physiological purpose in your healing. And so I do love this merging of the two energies, something that's actually good for your body and something that uh, in turn relaxes you and helps you get out of the fight or flight mode and
Yes.
really brings you better health. I mean, what could be better than that? I love it. Um, do you, when you have people that come to you in your practice, do you offer virtual appointments as well? How do you operate with your own business?
I do. I do see patients for one-on-one consultations, and usually my goal there is just to get the history, understand what the issue is, and see, can Ayurveda help you? Can I just right there give you the tips that will support you, and like a plan of action? Or should I need to, or do I need to refer you to functional medicine to dive much deeper into the issue? And a lot of times we partner. So a lot of times I will refer to functional medicine, and they're like, no, 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 you're keeping the client. I need you to handle the lifestyle piece. And so in 2020, I created a 6-week program to really just show everyone that, okay, if we're going to work together, I'm going to want you to learn gut health, circadian, your dosha, the diet, all of it. Like I want all of it in there because that's when we truly, oh, like we immerse in and we get the result. And then you get to keep and maintain that lifestyle for the rest of your life.
Mm,
So I do both one-on-one or my group program.
that's wonderful. And if somebody wanted to see you in person, are you taking in-person patients? And where are you
Occasionally.
located?
Yeah, I'm in Boca Raton, Florida. So if someone really wants an in-person, I'll try to find a slot for them.
Okay. That's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you. And can you talk a little bit about your fusionary formulas for our listeners, and for everybody coming onto my website from here on, we're going to offer a discount code for her fusionary formulas, which is Tick Chicks 15 that you can enter into your shopping cart, I assume, when you're checking out. But
Yeah.
talk to me a little bit about those formulas and what you offer.
Sure. So about 10 years ago, not 15, 10 years ago, my dream was if I'm going to create a turmeric supplement, how do I convince all of orthopedic medicine that when I'm in pain, I don't have to take NSAIDs? Like that was my whole theory was I can't take NSAIDs chronically. Back then I would have plantar fasciitis, I would throw out my back, all these issues post kids, and the NSAIDs would cause me stomach aches. And I thought, gosh, this is like my childhood. I always took a solution but it gave me another problem. And I don't like that. I want solutions without problems. And so I went on this journey and I found this curcumin that was so potent, it delivered a result. And my factory at the time, it's here in Florida, owned by an MD. They were like, you are not using that ingredient. That's way too expensive. And I said, you know what? I'm just trying to prove my point. So how about I prove my point and I will figure out one day how to make these numbers work. And it took me about 8 years of just being patient and working with doctors and convincing each one to try it on their patients and see what it did. And so we win at chronic joint pain. Like that's the one place where I know for 100% certainty we can support the patient and get them the help they need. And so that's why I'm so passionate about orthopedics and rheumatology because they see it. And then for the rest of the world, I really just teach that, hey, turmeric does all of this. So you might want to take it every day because those of us who know our health is needing a little bit of a defense system can take it every single day. And then once I created that, I actually just moved my factory here in the US. I'm doing third-party testing pre and post production. I always wanted a factory that would like let me do microbe testing and heavy metal testing and everything in such grand detail so that
Mhm.
we're really leading with the highest standards. And our doctors can trust that, okay, she's talking about this supplement. I'm going to trust it and use it in my patients. So to me, US production, how I source, how I make it, all those pieces are very important so I can consistently deliver the same result. Because that's what's going to let me go do more clinical trials and studies on it and publish more science on turmeric. And then from there, I built really cool other supplements. Like I built a deep sleep tea, a deep sleep gummy, a menopause tea. That's where I kind of have fun digging into the Ayurveda toolkit and using the adaptogens because I love ashwagandha and shatavari and tulsi and like there's so many herbs. And so my goal there was, can a tea be as functional as a supplement? And I've proven that to be true. Deep sleep tea, unwind tea, which is for anxiety and stress. I designed that one for us women who need a support at the end of our day, mainly for myself, but for anyone else who needed it. But yeah, I'm always on this journey of what else does my client need and how do I build an Ayurvedic solution? And once we get you out of trouble and out of the fire, now let's talk about lifestyle because we have to create the lifestyle change if we want to hold the result. This tool is just a tool to get you there fast. And then let's talk about the education part.
And since some of our Lyme patients in the beginning, when you're in a reactive state, have a little bit of trouble with some herbs, are there any guidelines you can recommend to people that might have a more of a sensitivity to herbs? Number one, or when they should consider taking it, and number two, is it safe for children, and how should they take it?
Good question. So, if you're sensitive to things and if you think that immune modulating herbs are going to be too strong, start with the spice. Start with ginger powder, start with turmeric powder, and just increase how much you take and see what the body does. If the body reacts negatively, please don't buy a curcumin supplement. A curcumin supplement is like hitting the problem with a hammer, it can be very strong the way it hits the system. So, you have to be careful there. You have to make sure you tolerate it. Um, well, that's kind of like an easy test to run. Is it the same? No. Once I twisted my ankle and I didn't have my curcumin supplement and I was near someone's house and I put like 3 tablespoons of turmeric in yogurt. It was disgusting and it did nothing. And I was like, okay,
I
you
mean,
know,
that's good to know. People need to understand
yeah,
that
it's
it
not going to
has to come
solve
in a
pain.
correct form, right?
Yeah. So it's not going to solve pain, but you need to know just how does your system react to it? And then children, children is a whole entire different ballgame. So in supplements, there's certain companies that build for children. I don't yet do that. Um, so yeah, I don't help with children yet.
Mhm.
But also if someone was starting out with a supplement and you weren't sure, you could always open the capsule and take half a dose and see like with food, how does half a dose do for you?
Mhm.
So that's another way to approach it.
I'm asking because Lyme disease off our biggest community of Lyme disease patients are children. And
Oh,
because they're running through the woods, they're carefree, they're jumping in leaves, they're doing all the things. And they're first, oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes their first indication that something's wrong is joint inflammation and swelling of the knees and joints.
yes.
So yeah,
I
I mean,
usually ask parents to reach out to me and I can give very specific support for that.
great.
I do have parents who reach out to me for help with their kids, and I can guide from the Ayurvedic lifestyle which oils, which things to use. Also, which probiotics. There's great probiotic companies out there, and there's really junky ones too. So I think it's so important that we understand that when you walk into a big box retailer to buy supplements, over 75% of those, the New York Times or the Wall Street Journal did a study that showed that over 75% of the supplements in your big box retailer do not meet the main ingredient, key ingredient at the level promised. And that to me drives me crazy. Like when I rely on a supplement, I need it to do its job. When I take vitamin D to travel, I need the full dose that I paid for it, that I expected to be in there.
Uh,
And so that's why I'm very passionate about functional medicine level or practitioner level supplements. Because when you build for that level, if you're not creating a difference, the practitioners know very clearly and they're not going to use it.
mhm.
And so, of course, I make a turmeric supplement. I'm passionate about it, but I'm also passionate about every other founder supplement who I find because I take all of those. So I have a mineral company I love right now. I have a probiotic company I love. And I'm constantly meeting those founders and saying, where's your production? How are you making it? Are you making it in the US? Like what are your standards? And that's how we're going to move the needle when it comes to, Lyme or anything else with our health.
I think it's great to build that sense of trust in the community because I agree with you. When you have an actual PhD in
Mhm.
turmeric and curcumin and all of the things that we're supposed to be doing on a daily basis, I trust the education that you have and that you've taken the time 8 years to develop your products in a way that's actually going to benefit our community. So I appreciate that. And I definitely will buy from you because I believe in that process so much. I know you now, I've
Yeah.
put a face to your name and I know the hard work and effort that went into these formulas.
Thank
So
you.
tell our community where they can find you and also any last words that you have for our community.
Absolutely. So the great way to find me is my website, shivanigupta.com, ShivanIGupta, and I'm at dr.shivanigupta on Instagram and all the social channels. My podcast is the Fusionary Health Podcast, and my website for Fusionary is fusionaryformulas.com, and your code is TickChicks15. And my last message is just, when we're suffering with any chronic health issue in the body, it's tough and it feels like a long road. I have seen it in my own family. I have seen it in my own children, and I don't take it lightly. I think this life is meant to be lived with such vibrancy and such joy. And so anything I can do to support you and show you that each and every self-care practice we do, each and every step we take to rebuild our health is an investment in getting to that goal. And I always go with my natural remedies first. I think natural remedies are such a powerful way to give the body what it needs in the way that the body will receive it and appreciate it and use it. And so I hope this Ayurvedic wisdom and lifestyle tools today can help you on your journey. And if you have any questions, reach out. But very much stay the course. Take such good care of yourself, and you will overcome this.
Thank you so much for your time and your wisdom. I loved speaking with you, and I hope we do it again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.